You just ate. You know you just ate. Your body knows it too. And yet, somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice is already asking what else is in the fridge. That voice is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is something far older, far stranger, and far more powerful than anything you were taught to blame yourself for. That voice is the reason you are alive. For the vast majority of human history, food was not guaranteed. It was not waiting for you in a lit box in your kitchen. It was not delivered to your door. It was a gamble, every single day. And the humans who felt the most intense pull toward food, who ate past comfort, who could not leave meat on the bone, who craved and hunted and consumed without restraint, those were the humans who survived long enough to become your ancestors. You did not inherit a broken relationship with food. You inherited a survival engine running in a world it was never designed for. Here is where it gets strange. Your brain has a mechanism. Researchers call it the reward prediction system, centered in a cluster of neurons deep inside your skull called the nucleus accumbens. Every time you see food, before you even touch it, this system fires. It releases dopamine, not when you eat, when you see it, when you smell it, when you simply think about it. Neuroscientist Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan spent decades separating what he called wanting from liking. His research showed they are not the same thing. Wanting is a primal signal, urgent, almost frantic, driving you toward the food. Liking is the quieter pleasure that happens while you eat. You can want something desperately that you do not even enjoy. You can feel compelled to finish a bag of chips while experiencing almost no real pleasure at all. That compulsion is not in your stomach. It lives in your brain, and that brain was shaped by starvation. Think about the environment your ancestors actually lived in. Researchers who study hunter-gatherer groups like the Hadza of Tanzania, one of the last populations living in a way that mirrors early human life, observe that food acquisition is unpredictable, exhausting, and never guaranteed. Anthropologist Herman Ponser, who has studied the Hadza extensively, found something startling. Their total daily energy expenditure is almost identical to that of people in modern industrial societies, even though they walk 10 to 12 miles a day. Their bodies adapted, they conserved, they pushed through, and when food appeared, a honeycomb, a large animal, a tree heavy with fruit, they ate. All of it. As much as possible. Because tomorrow, there might be nothing. That logic is still running inside you right now. Your hypothalamus, a tiny region at the base of your brain, monitors your fat stores constantly. It does this through a hormone called leptin, which fat cells release as a signal to your brain. More fat, more leptin, less hunger. It sounds like a clean system. It is not. Researchers studying leptin discovered something unsettling in the 1990s. When Jeffrey Friedman at Rockefeller University first identified leptin in 1994, the scientific world believed they had found the answer to obesity. Inject leptin, and the body would stop eating. The brain would get the signal. Enough. Except in most people who overeat, leptin is not low. It is very, very high. And the brain simply stops listening. It becomes leptin resistant. The signal is there. The brain ignores it. Why? Because when you evolved, the bigger threat was never eating too much. It was eating too little. Your brain was wired to distrust the stop eating signal and to always trust the eat more signal. The system was designed to fail upward. Now look at what modern food actually is. What you eat today is not what your ancestors ate. It has been reverse engineered using the exact knowledge of how your reward system works. Food scientists at major companies have spent billions of dollars finding what researchers call the bliss point, the precise combination of salt, fat, and sugar that triggers maximum dopamine release with minimum satiety. It is not a conspiracy. It is an arms race. Your ancient brain versus a multi-trillion-dollar industry that studied your ancient brain and built the perfect weapon against it. You are not weak for craving ultra-processed food. You are losing a fair fight with a rigged game. There is a concept food researcher David Kessler describes in his work on the neuroscience of overeating. He calls it conditioned hypereating. Your brain, after repeated exposure to hyperpalatable foods, actually rewires. The neural pathways that respond to these foods become deeper, faster, More automatic. You see a fast food logo. Your dopamine spikes before you have made any conscious decision. Your thoughts narrow. Your focus shifts. Everything else becomes background noise. That is not a choice. That is a circuit being triggered. The same circuit that kept your ancestor alive when they spotted a fruit tree from 200 meters away. The problem is the circuit cannot tell the difference between a mango and a bag of cheese puffs. And there is something else happening that almost nobody talks about. Your gut is not a passive container, it is a second brain. The gut contains more than 100 million neurons, more than the spinal cord. Researchers now call it the enteric nervous system. It communicates constantly with your brain via the vagus nerve, sending signals upward that influence mood, motivation, and hunger in ways science is only beginning to understand. Gut bacteria, the trillions of microbes living inside you, produce neurotransmitters. They can signal hunger independently of what your body actually needs. Some researchers believe certain bacterial populations can effectively hijack the hunger signal for their own benefit, driving cravings for the nutrients that feed them. You are not one organism making one decision about food. You are an ecosystem negotiating, and the ecosystem wants to survive. Here is the twist you may not expect. The fact that you cannot stop eating is also the reason you are capable of extraordinary endurance. When everything is scarce, the drive to eat, to move, to keep going despite exhaustion is the same system. Researchers who study the evolutionary biology of persistence point to a concept called the endurance hunting hypothesis, the idea that early humans may have hunted prey not by speed, but by simply never stopping. By running and walking for hours, sometimes days, in brutal heat, until the animal collapsed from heat exhaustion. That relentless drive, that refusal to quit despite emptiness and fatigue, was powered by the same brain circuitry that makes you finish the entire pizza even when you are full. The same mechanism that drives you to the fridge at midnight is what allowed your ancestors to pursue a wildebeest across the savannah until it had nowhere left to run. Your hunger was never your enemy. It was your engine. But the engine is now running in a world that has removed all the friction. You no longer have to hunt to earn your food. The drive remains. The reward structure collapsed, and the system, left without its original context, turns inward, spirals, searches for the next hit of salt and fat and sugar in an environment that offers it on every corner, at every hour, at almost no cost. So what do you do with this knowledge? Understanding is not a cure, but it changes the shape of the problem. When you hear that quiet voice asking what else is in the fridge, you are not hearing a failure. You are hearing the echo of every ancestor who survived a winter they should not have survived, who found the berries when everyone else had given up, who ate when eating was available because eating when eating was not available was not an option. That compulsion kept an unbroken chain of human beings alive for 200,000 years. It carried their genes forward through famine and drought and ice age and war. It carried them all the way to you. Tonight, when you open the fridge for the third time and stare into it without knowing what you are looking for, remember, you are not broken. You are ancient. The machine is working exactly as it was built. It was built to want more, to drive harder, to never trust that enough is enough. The world changed. The machine did not. And somewhere under everything you have been told about willpower and discipline and self-control, that machine is still doing the only thing it was ever designed to do. Keep you here, keep you fed, keep you alive, just as it always has.